So welcome to another episode of the Late Aesthetics Show with me, Vanessa Lana Brown. So today we are going to talk about menopause, and I'm joined by Charlotte, who is the founder of two really great menopause kind of conferences and events in the UK, Pause and MIA. So Charlotte, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you on, and it's great to delve into what's available when it comes to menopause, because I think for years now it's been such an understated topic. It's been a bit of a taboo subject. So what kind of made you want to start bringing awareness to menopause, and what were your main reasons for finding MIA and Pause?
Well, firstly, I'm so delighted to be here. Thank you for having me, Vanessa. It's always a pleasure to see you. And I must say one thing before we start. I am feeling rather menopausal this morning, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to appreciate me being so blatantly honest. I made myself, when I got back from the gym, put my laptop out, knowing that I was coming to London, and I made myself 2 cups of coffee.
Did you?
So I'd made
one.
Yeah. Got distracted and then made another. So I was trying to. I was like, well, if I drunk them,
you'd be jittery.
I didn't drink them, but I thought I'd start by saying that. And it's a really good question. What started MIA, Menopause and Aesthetics Conference? As some listeners may know, I used to work within the aesthetic industry and run one of the leading UK's aesthetics event, magazine, awards, etc., which was fantastic. And my own journey really took me to set up MIA. I'd been to the GP probably 6 or 7 times, was about 46, was having a lot of menopausal symptoms, was feeling rather anxious. Everything was suffering, and I felt that I wasn't getting the answers that I needed from my GP. So luckily enough, I work within the aesthetic industry. I went to see my aesthetic nurse, who has been doing my aesthetic treatments for many, many years. And she was the one who said, you really need to go privately and get your blood test done. Yeah. And then I spoke to Vicky Eldridge. Vicky Eldridge is the editor of Aesthetic Medicines and been in the industry for many years. And I said, why don't we do a conference, an exhibition for menopause in aesthetics? Because aesthetic practitioners are so well placed to be. We call them first responders, Vanessa, because they're where you go after you can't get those answers from the GP.
Well, exactly. And so we do, at our clinic, VL Aesthetics, we do offer menopause consultations. Brilliant. Because it's quite right. Women come in and they just get the same generic answer from their GP. It's either this or this. There's nothing bespoke. And I think every single female is on a different journey when it comes to menopause. Every single female, it's inevitable that we will go through menopause at some stage of our life, but it's how it can be managed. But why do you think there's still such a stigma associated with talking about menopause? And do you feel like now that stigma's finally being broken?
I think we've made a giant leap forward in talking about menopause. And I think my generation, we are the sandwich generation, I call it. We've got, you might have younger children, elderly parents, we're still working, and we refuse to grow old. We also look a lot younger because of all our wonderful aesthetic treatments.
Yes, exactly.
So a lot of people don't actually notice the signs of perimenopause. So yes, there is a stigma still, I think. And I'm always intrigued when we go out and do filming, on the streets, so to speak, that a lot of people don't want to talk about the menopause. It's a dirty word.
Yeah.
And people want to keep that very private. And I do get that towards to reason, but there needs to be so much more education from the moment we start our periods, the way, till the day we finish them. We've all got a story in between, haven't we? There's not one woman that hasn't got a story when it comes to that. And I think it's really important that we get that education from a young age, so that my daughter's generation and yourself, don't have to suffer like we have had to suffer 8 times to your GP and still no help. Not everybody can afford to have private blood tests, can they? So
exactly.
Women's health has just been neglected for many years now, and that is the consequence.
And do you think then as a society we should be doing more to support women? Do you think that the government should be doing more to raise awareness for women's health in general? And do you think there can be other initiatives that we can do to raise more awareness and help women that are going through those changes?
That's a really good question, and I think that's the $1 million question, really. I think, Davina McCall, the Menopause Mandate, all the wonderful women that have worked tirelessly to get us the HRT prescription. I take my hats off to all of them. Yes, we do need to do more, but we need to, as I say, I think it comes from the education system. I don't feel that we teach women enough, or men, or boys and girls, whatever way you want to look at it, about our human bodies. I'm always quite surprised that people don't know the difference between their vulva and vagina.
Exactly.
Now, if you don't know your own body parts, what chance have you got?
But I'm even thinking back to school, biology lessons. We don't get taught about that. We literally just get taught about the basics.
Yeah.
We don't get taught about what happens, let's say, after we have children.
Yeah.
There's no discussion about it whatsoever.
But I think the education system in general, that's another whole topic, but I think it does need a bit of a shake-up, and I think we need to be looking at what skills we need to get through life, because life is challenging for whether you're female or male. We're living in a society which we do need to know a little bit more. So education is the key, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think that there's quite a lot of misconceptions regarding menopause, and do you think that there's a lot of misleading information out there for women, and how can they access the best possible information for them?
Yes, I do think there's a lot of misleading information out there, and I think there's a lot of products and services that aren't evidence-based. The menopause market has become very monetized, which is always going to happen when you see the market.
It's like the skincare market. They just slap certain ingredients on things and then all of a sudden it becomes that product.
Yeah.
I think because it's such a hot trending topic now, because we are more open to discussing it, a lot of companies are getting on the bandwagon for that.
So I think we need to do our research, and not one size fits all. I know that better than anyone. And it's a constant journey with what you need. Yeah. Whether that be HRT, supplements to support that. Everyone is different. It's bespoke, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think we've touched upon HRT. I think most women listening will understand what HRT is. Yeah. BHRT came onto the market a few years ago now. It's still got quite a lot of stigma around it. Yeah. What are your views on it? We even just said before about the Panorama documentary with BHRT. I personally have seen quite a few women that are on BHRT and they are having phenomenal life-changing results with it. So what's your take on that?
Well, I'm on BHRT as well, so it's not for everybody. And again, you have to do your research. But as I said to you, Vanessa, I think most women want to treat their symptoms and get on with the rest of their life. They don't want to be banging the drum for women's health like we are.
Yeah, exactly. They just want something to manage it and then carry on with their everyday life with family, work, career, etc. Yeah,
they've got so many balls they're juggling. And it's just and that, unfortunately, as we just said about Women's Health Club being neglected, for me, it was a godsend. As I say, it's not for everyone. I never judge anyone if they don't want to take HRT. Again, you can back that up with more that's menopause.
That's it.
Holistic treatment.
Well, holistic treatment. And then that leads us on really nicely, because when I was at Pause, what was that, last month or is it a few weeks ago?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was only a few weeks ago.
It was, and you lose track of obviously the weeks and the days. There were so many options available. So I think something like that is fantastic, because women can attend and they can find everything. And you're not just going to have random people exhibiting like other conferences do. It's got to be tried and tested with the clinical backing. Yeah. And one of the things, obviously, I'm a big advocate for is the low-level laser therapy. Yep. With the likes of the Emerald and the EVRL, which can help support on a cellular level. So why was it important for you to have the likes of the Emerald and the EVRL at Pause, so that women can understand more about what's available in a non-invasive, natural way?
Yeah, and do you know what? It was wonderful at Pause Live to see so many of the manufacturers, distributors within the aesthetic industry that supported women's health, and they were there not because they wanted to get a good return on investment, but because they wanted to be there to support women, and you knew who those players were, and Emerald was one of those players. I think I really enjoyed speaking to one lady who had been to your stand. And who said to me, I didn't even know that this treatment existed, okay, and got really excited about it. And it's non-invasive, and I think that the results speak for themselves, don't they?
Exactly.
So I think it's manageable for somebody to do the treatment. And I think it was nice that with Pause Live, that the women there may not have aesthetic treatments, but there are treatments they can have for menopause symptoms that are going to work.
And it might be those women that have never stepped foot into a medical aesthetic clinic before. It's maybe not something that they do, or maybe it's something that they're nervous to do. So to be able to understand that there's a lot more treatments available that is just Botox and filler, or it's just skincare-led treatments. There's so many things available.
And the feedback from we send out a survey to all our visitors after, and the feedback on your talk was fantastic. So, that's really good. And I think moving forward, the more women we can get to with these solutions, the better.
Because it's education, and unless we do platforms to educate, we're just going to stick to the core things. Whereas because science and technology has developed so much, there's so much that we can do to enhance that whole journey for women, which is great. So that kind of leads us on to, where do you kind of see the future of menopause treatments heading? And where kind of do you see, does the government change anything, or do we just keep needing to educate people?
Well, that's sort of a two-tier question, really, isn't it? I think, as we've touched on education, haven't we? And I think you'll see a more future medicine angle towards menopause and aesthetics. I think the way that we're going is into longevity, personalised medicine, wellness, the sort of treatments that we were just discussing are going to be at the forefront, I think. Rather, it's not about how you look outside, it's really about how you feel inside. And I think we've learned that, that's more important. And I think with the likes of Emerald, that's how it also makes you feel good. It's a feel-good treatment, and people can't get their heads around that. But go to their website and you can get your head around it. And I think that's what people are looking for. Our healthcare system in the UK, it's not working. It's as simple as that. So more and more people are trying to biohack their own lives, and it's wonderful to see so many doctors that I know that are embracing functional medicine, and I'm sure in your clinic you're going to be looking at bringing those things in. Is that
Well, even if you look at the likes of low-level laser therapy, you look at the Emerald, it's the top clinics that are offering regenerative medicine solutions. They're offering functional medicine because they realise that it's not one size fits all. We need to do a bespoke, personalised approach for each patient. And I think if we can educate women from their early 20s about that, and we can keep them healthy for as long as possible, when the time comes when we do get to that menopausal stage, our internal system will be in a much healthier, starting point.
And I think also testing, I think is really important. I think
massively.
A genetic testing. I had a Nutra test done recently, and it blew my mind. And you only need to have something like that done once, don't you? But to know what it doesn't, it can't tell you you're definitely going to get cancer or you're going to do this. But it can tell you markers that you can then change, and it can also tell you what you're lacking. I'll give you an example. I've always had vitamin B injections ever since I had my own clinic, thinking that I need them because of my heavy period. I don't need them. I actually need omega-3, and I need more vitamin D. All of these things, I think that's the future. I think, knowing yourself and taking responsibility for yourself is really important.
I did a full blood work at one of our clinics, BioLite in Dubai, back in October time. It was a full blood work, so you know what your deficiencies are, you know what your testosterone, estrogen levels are, because then you can actually supplement based on what you actually need. There's no point taking something if your body doesn't need it. So in the UK, most people are vitamin D deficient because we don't get enough sunlight. But for some reason, maybe the amount of abroad trips I do or whatever, my vitamin D levels were fine. So I didn't necessarily need to supplement vitamin D. But B12, I did need to start supplementing it.
That's really interesting.
But it's interesting to find that out. And then I've done biological age tests to find out what my internal biological age is.
But you've got to share that with everyone.
Well, so it's the exact same age that I am. So it's 29. So it's the same age, which is good because what that shows is there's low inflammation in the body. So if your biological age is the same or younger than you are, the inflammation's low, which means your cells are responding as they should. So things like disease will be reduced later on in life. But it gives you markers of things to look out for. Like hypertension, maybe like in 10, 15 years time. So you can do things now to maybe, reduce that from taking effect, really.
So exciting,
it's so
isn't it?
interesting.
Yeah.
This type of aesthetic medicine, it's moved on so much to just, a couple injection points. Or remember when they used to do things like 8-point filler facelifts and stuff like,
Aesthetic medicine
Yeah.
is now aesthetic medicine.
Yeah.
All the people doing sort of Botox in Chinese takeaway restaurants, we're not really interested in them.
No, continue doing that. Don't continue doing that. Do not. But don't do that.
It's nothing to do with our industry. Our industry is aesthetic medicine, and I think we've always had a bit of a bad rap, haven't we?
Yeah.
Being aesthetics. But if people understood the knowledge and education that these aesthetic practitioners have, it's phenomenal. They're first responders on so many levels.
And this is what differentiates aesthetic medical doctors or nurses from cowboys that are doing it in kebab shops or whatever. That's the big difference. 100%. They're not aesthetic medicine practitioners whatsoever. No. They shouldn't even be classed within that whatsoever. What advice would you give, let's say, a woman who's just starting to go through the menopausal stage in life? What's your top 3 key points of advice?
I think do your research. Don't take no for an answer. Go on to our Pause Live website. We've got a fabulous magazine that you can download, and there's a symptom checker there. Now, a lot of women, what they do is they fill in the symptom checker and they take it to the GP, and then just don't take no for the answer. Yeah. I think that's really important. Talk to your family and friends. I know myself, I didn't want to go out. I really lost all my confidence. Try and talk to people because there are lots of people out there that are going to help you. Call me, I can always. So, and do your research. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. But also, please bear in mind that midlife is a wonderful time, and I am literally my target audience, aren't I? And I am actually living my best life. I can't actually remember how I was before. I think I was a bit full of myself before I was perimenopause. I mean, this has been a bit of a...
We go through changes in our lives constantly, don't we?
I know. I think all the stresses that led me to... And I know it's out, everyone says, oh, yeah, you come out like this wonderful butterfly at the end of it. Well, I don't know about that, but all I'm saying is there is life after midlife. Yeah. Own your menopause. We've got you. Let's all, let's keep having these conversations. I think that's
absolutely
important.
So the great thing about Pause is it's an annual event. It'll be in its 3rd year next year, I think.
It is its 3rd year.
So when is it taking place?
October the 4th at the Grand Connaught Rooms in London. We are so excited, and I think we're changing it up a little bit next year. We want to bring in the fact that what I spoke about earlier, that from the moment you start your period until the day you finish it. Because we noticed that a lot of younger women were coming with their mums, with their aunts, with their sisters. And although we don't want to dilute it, we are there for menopausal women. And if you know any perimenopausal or menopausal women, we want it to be an annual event where women say, look, I know you're struggling at the moment. This would be a really good place for you to go. Not only will you get educated, you'll have a bloody good day out. It's lots of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, there was lots of free cocktails there. Yeah, they were great. Yeah. And there was lots of fun things to do. It was activities, exercise, everything. It was it's a proper day out. It's not just a boring day walking around a conference. It's not like that at all.
No, it's not. And the atmosphere is electric in there as well.
Smells,
and you feel like you're part of something. So we are going to be also having a panel with regards to, periods and looking at endometriosis, PMS, all of the things that affect us. And I think that's really important because if we can get that younger audience in as well, that, like you just said, it's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
There are 20% of people that don't have any symptoms, and you know what? Feel so lucky for them, and that also they need to be included in the conversation as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So come along, it's fine. Yeah.
No,
there'll be something for you.
You're 100% right. And then MIA, which is Menopause and Aesthetics, is purely for healthcare practitioners only, and that's in February next year, isn't it? February 25.
February 25, 7th for them. But we're doing awards, which is going to be amazing. So you must enter at the awards.
Yes, we definitely will.
She is award winning. She doesn't like like to mention it, but I will. Businesswoman of the Year over here.
You got a good plug in there. Thank you very much, Charlotte. Thank you for that. I appreciate
Got to look after each other.
Yeah.
I don't just talk the talk.
And,
I walk the walk.
Charlotte was featured in Hello Magazine as well, so we've got that as well.
We've definitely got each other's
We've got
backs.
both of them.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So if you could pick one thing that you would like the listeners to take away from today's conversation, what would it be?
Own your menopause. Yeah, enjoy your menopause even.
Yeah. Don't view it as a detrimental time in your life. Embrace it.
And I don't want you or anyone younger listening to be scared of it. That's what this has created, and programs like the Panorama one yesterday, has created questions over HRT is safe, and there's no, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
And I think that don't be fooled by all the what's chat.
Yeah. Well, it's scaremongering is what it is. I think before I actually, fully got into the medical aesthetics industry, maybe in my early 20s, menopause isn't really something that I would think about in my early 20s whatsoever. But you see women that are going through that, and you are told that it's end of life. That's it. Do you know what I mean? But it's not. It's not whatsoever. So the thing is, that's drilled into you, and that's the fear factor. Whereas, it's going to happen. We just need to work a way to manage it, and then still be the healthiest versions of ourselves, really.
Exactly. And I think, podcasts like this are fantastic.
Yeah.
So
it's the education. Thank you. You're more than welcome. And thank you so much for joining me. So that rounds up today's podcast. If you would like to subscribe or any comments or feedback, put them in the chat below.